What's going on, guys? JSGC here, and we are here for another Manchester City video. Today we're going to be doing a Manchester City squad rating for the 2019-2020 season. So far, of course, with the pandemic going on, we're still in lockdown. So, if you've got any video requests, do let me know in the comments below with your video requests. This video that I'm doing right now is a video request. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like always, if you are enjoying the content and you want to help support my channel, then please subscribe, press that red button, press the bell, and put your push notifications on to help support my channel. We're only, at this time of recording, only 6 subscribers away from 5,700 subscribers, so any help towards that would be much appreciated. You can also find my social media links, which you can find in the description below and popping up on screen if you want to go and follow me on Twitter and Instagram. And don't forget also, leave your thoughts in the comments below of what you think of this video, along with your video suggestions. And also, don't forget, leave a thumbs up if you enjoy this video. So, without further ado, we're going to crack on with this video rating for Manchester City's squad. So we're going to start with the goalkeepers. We'll work in that order. I think it's easier. We're going to start with Ederson first. So I've given him a 7 out of 10. I think he's had a pretty decent season as far as we're concerned for Manchester City. I think there's room for improvement in terms of his shot-stopping ability, but overall he's pretty solid. His distribution's excellent, so I don't really think there's too much more to add on. We know how good Ederson can be. He's performed consistently throughout, so yeah, a good rating, 7 out of 10. Claudio Bravo, I've gone for a 6. I think he's been decent for Manchester City in the Cups this season. He is prone to an error or two. We do know that with Claudio Bravo, but he's playing Manchester City's backup goalkeeper. A pretty solid rating again, 6 out of 10. And I feel like we know there's not much else that I would expect from Claudio Bravo. So yeah, I've given him a 6 out of 10. Now, Kyle Walker, we'll move on to the defenders. We'll start with the right-backs first. Kyle Walker, I think he's had a solid season for City this season. I was umming and ahhing between a 7 or an 8, and I will add, throughout this video, I am quite harsh with my ratings, but I'm going for a 7 out of 10 for for Kyle Walker for Manchester City this season. I think he's had a pretty solid season for Manchester City, really. Let's not forget his great performance that he had in net, coming on for the last 10 minutes or so at the San Siro away in the Champions League against Atalanta. The only person to stop Atalanta in the Champions League from scoring past him. So yeah, the only keeper to be able to do that. So kudos to Kyle Walker. But performances up and down the wing, on the right wing for Manchester City. Like I said, I think he's been very solid for Manchester City this season. I don't really think there's too much more for me to add on there. We know what to expect from Kyle Walker. His crossing ability has never been his greatest attribute, and it is something that I think he could work on. But his positions, again, could do with a little bit of work. But in terms of his pace, keeping up with defenders, tracking back, stuff like that, I think he's had a decent season. He has kept Cancelo out of the squad, really, so I've given him a 7 out of 10. And speaking of Cancelo, moving on to Joao Cancelo next, I've given him a 6 out of 10. Room for improvement, but to put it quite simply, I've given him a 6 because when he has been playing for Manchester City, I've never gone, oh, he stands out as being extremely poor, but I've never gone, oh, he stands out as being excellent either. I'd like to see more of him. I'd like him to do another season at City just to see how good he can be. If it doesn't work out then, it doesn't work out, and we move on from there. But I would like to see another season of Joao Cancelo. Now we'll move on to the centre-backs now. I'm going to go and start with John Stones. I've given him a 3 out of 10. And I think, my opinion, some might disagree, but I feel like I'm being a bit generous when I give him a 3. And you couldn't argue if I'd given him a 1 or a 2, really. He's had a bad season for Manchester City this season. He's made too many errors. He's looked very shaky. His confidence, his shot, it's done. He's a shadow of his former self. Compare John Stones' performances this season from what he was like during City's record-breaking 2017-2018 season, which was the peak of John Stones going into that World Cup with England. He was excellent, but this season, 2 seasons later, it's just not the same player. Confidence is gone, doesn't know where to pass it or how to pass. He's shaky, he stumbled. I think the Carabao Cup final just about summed up his time this season at Manchester City for us. And so, yeah, I'm just wondering what's next for John Stones. Is it going to be at Manchester City? Would you give him another season? Or would you sell and bring somebody else in? And let's face it, City, they need to be brutal when it comes to sorting out that centre-back situation when the transfer window does reopen. I was going to say the summer transfer window, but it might not be the summer. I do not know. Because of the pandemic, we don't know when football is going to resume and what's happening just yet. But when we do know what's happening, I'll be the first to let you know. Now, Otamendi. very hit and miss. I've given him a 5 out of 10. I feel like I've been a bit generous. I could have maybe given him a 4 or a 5. Otamendi, some people... It contradicts opinions, really. Some love Otamendi and some really don't like Otamendi. I think, in my opinion, trying to be as unbiased as possible here, I think he shows glimpses of being a really good defender. And then at some other times, he shows glimpses of not being a good defender, and he's just too rash, which is why I've gone right down the middle with 5 out of 10, because sometimes he's brilliant, can't fault him, excellent in the air, sometimes he's got good positional skills, sometimes he makes the tackle, he's exceptional, stops the counter-attacks, and we move on. And then at other times, like I said, it's 50-50, because at other times his positioning, terrible, dives in, he's reckless, he's rash.
The next day,
Leaves the City defence exposed. You see Otamendi and you don't know which one's going to turn up. That's how I feel anyway. And so, yeah, like I said, I don't know which one it's going to be. 5 out of 10. I'd like to know your thoughts on that, because I'm sure there'll be lots of opinions on that in the comments below. Now, Aymeric Laporte, I've gone for a 6, and I've only given him a 6 just purely because he hasn't played too much football for City. Started obviously the first few games for City this season, then got injured right at the end of August against Brighton at home. His injury meant that he's not featured too much, and so when he has returned, I felt like City looked a little bit more confident when we had him at the back. I just feel like we need a top-class centre-back to sit alongside Aymeric Laporte, and I feel like we need a bit of cover for Aymeric Laporte too, because he's just picked up a serious injury for this season. He picked up an injury, didn't he? He went off at the Bernabeu too, and so we're not too sure where he's at for his injury record at this moment in time. And so again, it's something that City do need to sort out when the transfer window reopens, and I'm looking for 2 good top-class centre-backs to join Manchester City. I think that would really help us out, and obviously look at the future of some of our defenders. Fernandinho, I've given him a 6. He's adaptable. Seems like a good 3rd or 4th choice centre-back at Manchester City. I feel like we need a bit more quality at in the centre-back situation, because it's very delicate at the moment, the centre-back situation. So I'd like to see it to be a more natural position for a player to bring in. And Fernandinho is a defensive midfielder. I'd like to see him competing more with Rodri, in my opinion, because we know how good Fernandinho can be. Playing at defensive midfield, fantastic player. I'd like to see a little bit more of him playing and operating as cover with, or should I say, a rotated option with Rodri. So, yeah, that's my opinion. He's had an alright season though, Fernandinho. I reckon he'd have had a better season if he was playing defensive midfield and he got a higher rating, but like I said, he's adapting. It's a new position. Eric Garcia, 6. Again, I need to see more of Eric Garcia. When he's featured, he looks very calm, collective and composed. He just needs more minutes. He has great potential. I'd love for Manchester City to be able to promote Eric Garcia and give him more chances. Over the last few weeks, before football was stopped, but the weeks before that, I'd like to have seen Garcia given more games, because it was an ideal opportunity to have done that with Liverpool running away with the league, for us to have gone and developed the players like Eric Garcia, like Taylor Harwood-Bellis getting a couple of games, developing players, Phil Foden too. It just didn't happen. Disappointing, because it was an ideal opportunity, and I would like to see more of Eric Garcia. Now, Angelino, I've given him a 5. Obviously not at Manchester City anymore. He's out on loan at Red Bull Leipzig, but he did feature for the first half of the season for Manchester City, so he's getting a rating of 5 out of 10. Offensively, he looked like a good player. Defensively, he didn't look like a good player. He didn't suit Manchester City's formation at the end of the day. I'm not too sure why we brought him back. Maybe it was something to do with the homegrown quota. Maybe it was something to do with City confident they could develop Angelino or try and make profit on him. I do not know why they brought him back, but I do like Angelino. I would like him to have a future at Manchester City, but he suits a wing back. He suits playing a 3 or a 5 at the back, and Manchester City predominantly will play a 4 at the back, and so I just don't think he suits playing a 4 at the back. If City wanted to go all guns blazing, all-out attack, Angelino would be perfect for that. Like I said, defensively, look how good he was for Red Bull Leipzig, but start depending on him defensively, and you're going to need a good, solid defence, by the way, in the Premier League. Yeah, I'm not too sure Angelino's the way forward for Manchester City. Now, Benjamin Mendy, he's next. I've given him a 5 as well. Injuries have plagued his City career. He's much like Angelino offensively. Going forward, he's great. Defensively, not so much. I do feel like this season, though, hence he's only got a 5, as his crossings particularly let him down. It's something I've had high expectations for Benjamin Mendy. At Monaco, he was great at his crossing. At the beginnings, periods of his career at Manchester City, his crossing was deadly. It was fantastic. It was revolutionary. It was brilliant, just what we wanted. But this season it just seems to have left him, which is a great shame. So I'd probably give Benjamin Mendy another season. If he doesn't come back, then questions. I'd probably start asking a few questions. The other left back's been playing for City, who isn't a left back. Oleksandr Zinchenko. Again, I've given him a 5. So all the City's left backs this season a 5. So yeah, that might be something for City to improve on. I think he's been good. Defensively, there's questions to be asked. He does look like, in my opinion, City's most composed left back. Certainly is the best on the ball. I'd just like to see I'd just like to see Zinchenko, playing a little bit further upfield for Manchester City. He's an attacking midfielder. He scores goals for the Ukraine. He's a good, solid player. Will his future lie at Manchester City? I do not know, but he is happy to play out of position. He's happy to be starting anywhere. Zinchenko. Keep getting him confused, but Zinchenko, he's happy to play anywhere. And I would love 25 Zinchenkos at Manchester City. He has got a solid attitude, a player that's happy to be at Manchester City and playing games wherever that may be. And I can mark my words, give me 25 Zinchenkos on that pitch, City, they'd be sailing to all of the trophies, because he's just brilliant. Yeah. But like I said, playing at left back, I'd give him a 5 out of 10 because I'd like to see him in his more natural position rather than as a left back. I do feel like City need a top-class left back when the transfer window does reopen. Moving on to the midfield, Rodri, defensive midfielder. I'm going to give him an 8. He was sluggish to start, but he's worked on his physical side. He's worked on his awareness, his positional awareness, and his awareness of players pressing him, trying to force mistakes. He's ironed that out of his game, and he's looked solid ever since. He looks very comfortable, the perfect defensive midfielder that Pep Guardiola was looking for at Manchester City. So yeah, I've given Rodri an 8 out of 10. Ilkay Gundogan, I feel like he gets too much slack in my opinion. I'm giving him a 6 out of 10. We know he's not the most physical player. We know he's not great at tackling, but he's good at driving the ball forward and his ability to hold on and keep possession. When he's playing in defensive midfield, his ability on the ball is better than Fernandinho's. Rodri's excellent, but he's better than Fernandinho when it comes to ball control and keeping the ball with his feet. But that's not Ilkay Gundogan's more natural position. You see him as more like a contrast between David Silva and Kevin De Bruyne. And I just feel like with Ilkay Gundogan, he doesn't know whether to go with a direct pass and be more like Kevin De Bruyne, or he doesn't know if he needs to be more like Silky Ilkay, really, and be more like David Silva and get them slick passes in that people have come to run on Ilkay Gundogan for. And I feel like he's just caught between the two. And I feel like, in my opinion, Ilkay Gundogan is a really good finisher, and he's at his best when he's sneaking through the gaps and having shots at goal. So I feel like I feel like there's games that would suit Ilkay Gundogan, and I feel like it's up to the management at City to identify the games that would suit Ilkay Gundogan and him going further forward, or if we need him cover, putting him in at defensive midfield, or having him cover De Bruyne if he was to pick up an injury. But it's hard when you get compared to Kevin De Bruyne. That's not fair, really, is it? Speaking of Kevin De Bruyne, 10 out of 10, solid season. All I'm going to say, assist record, he'd have that assist record sitting on his mantelpiece right now if it wasn't for this pandemic. Just a fantastic player, and I don't need to say any more about Kevin De Bruyne. David Silva, a 6 out of 10. Not our best from David Silva, the magician. I think age has just simply caught up with him. I think that's a big shame, and I don't like saying David Silva 6 out of 10. Love you, David. I think a fantastic player, but yeah, I just feel like right now, David Silva, his future lies elsewhere from Manchester City. He's no longer, it sounds horrible, like he's no longer of the quality that Manchester City need anymore, but he's just been a solid player for Manchester City. Love you, David. Please, once he decides to hang up his boots, please return to Manchester City and come back in some kind of role, because David Silva's just been one of the best players that Manchester City's ever had. So yeah, it's just one of them things with age that you know, you start to decline, and we've seen the decline or the start off of David Silva, and it hurts me to say that, it really does. Phil Foden, I've given him a 6 out of 10. It was great in the League Cup final. He's starting to show more and more that he's able to adapt to play in different positions, going out wide too. There's big questions going to be asked obviously next season. David Silva leaving 2021. It needs to be the season of Phil Foden, and I really hope that it will be. Bernardo Silva, I've given him a 7 out of 10. Another solid season. He's an excellent technical player. I'd like to see him, introduce again into his game his nipping, pressing football, particularly when City are playing higher up the pitch, because he was excellent at that at Monaco, and he came in first season at City. He was brilliant at it, and it's just kind of fizzled out of his game, and I'd like to see it introduced again, where he's just giving little kicks and nips in at the player just to win the ball back. Some might accuse him of fouling the players and stuff, but he literally is just going at the feet, trying to get the ball back and putting the player under pressure to force the mistake. And it works. And I'd like to see it back, in my complete honest opinion. Riyad Mahrez. I'm giving him an 8 out of 10. My opinion, best season he's had at Manchester City so far. Leroy Sane picked up a long-term injury, so a big season was in store here for Riyad Mahrez. He's going to get the minutes that he'd been looking for, and he's taken it with both hands. He's been solid, he's been good in the middle, he's been good out wide, he's got a good shot on him too. Had an impressive season for Manchester City, and one of the first players that I would look for on the team sheet as the season escalated, because Riyad Mahrez has put in some quality performances this season. I do think one area for him to improve on would be just to be more visually aware of his surroundings around him. He needs to just identify, when does he need to pass it? Or should I have a shot here? Or should I look to move it out wide? Just needs to just further his understanding in that and just apply that to his game. Not too much, because what he's doing right now is excellent, but just tinker it a little bit. That's what I'd like to see anyway from Riyad Mahrez. Raheem Sterling got off to a quick start, giving him a 7 out of 10. There's no doubt in the quality. He's working hard off the pitch to improve his all-round game. I do feel like he's better utilised on the right-hand side than the left-hand side, and I feel like that's something that City need to sort out with the future of Leroy Sane. I just feel like we get more out of Raheem Sterling on the right than we do on the left. He's always forever trying to cut inside. Players know that they want him to cut inside. You get Raheem Sterling onto his left foot and you feel like, nowhere near as good as what he is on his right foot. I just feel like he's better suited on City's right-hand side than the left. So I feel like City, if Sane leaves, we need a good quality left winger. Leroy Sane, it's unfair for me to give any comment on Leroy Sane, really, so I'll just put NA, not applicable. He's had 11 minutes of football all season, and you know what I mean, that was in the Community Shield. Unfortunately picked up that serious injury. He seems to be getting over it now, so if the football does return, I expect we'll see more of Leroy Sane, but I feel like with Leroy Sane, the bigger battle lies off the field. Will it be a new contract? Will he be sold? I do not know. Gabriel Jesus, hit and miss at times for me, 6 out of 10. At times he looks very composed. At times he looks like a deadly striker who's going to score 4 or 5 goals in a game. And at other times he's pressing players, he's tracking back, and he's doing all of the nitty gritty and dropping deeper and playing as that real number 9. And then at other times he's playing as a number 10, a number 11. He's getting into some great positions. His positional work actually is fantastic, but his finishing, it could do with a little bit of work. Like I said, some games he looks deadly, and then in other games he misses some sitters. He really does, and so that's something he needs to iron out of his game. Like I said, give him 2 more seasons, give him two more seasons, see how he's developing, and go from there. But Gabriel Jesus, I do like him. He's got potential there. We'll see what he's capable of. Now, last but not least, Sergio Aguero, giving him an 8 out of 10. Lovely player, great finisher. He's worked hard this season, in my opinion, on tracking back just to add that to his game, so he's got even better, which I thought was impossible, but it's not. And Sergio Aguero, I just love him. I just wish we had 10 more years of Sergio Aguero, because I just think he's fantastic. So, yeah. Last but not least, we'll just comment on the manager, Pep, 8 out of 10. I think Pep's biggest issue this season was losing Mikel Arteta, and so I feel like another battle that we need to sort out is bringing in a new assistant coach. I mean, we could get Dominic Torrent back. New York City got rid, so we could bring him back. I would like to see that. Just Pep likes to work with players and people that he's worked with before, so I feel like that would aid our backroom staff, and it'd just ease the congestion on Pep Guardiola, because Mikel Arteta was a big loss for us. Just having a look at alternatives if we wanted to go down that route and looking for another assistant manager. Xavi's another option. He's more than willing to learn from Pep. He is managing over in the Middle East at this moment in time, so I'm not too sure he would move to become an assistant manager when he's already a manager. I think he'll just want to learn his trade as he is right now, so I'd say it's unlikely, but I would like to see Xavi at Manchester City as a coaching role, or Vincent Kompany. He's got lots of lessons to be learned, a player that City are used to. All the players have worked around and they have a lot of respect for Vincent Kompany. He's obviously trying to develop his big learning brain that he's got and his football knowledge, trying to get that into management. And I feel like the best way for Vincent Kompany to learn would be to learn from one of, if not the best, Pep Guardiola. I'd love Vincent Kompany back at Manchester City in a coaching role, and I don't think anybody out there would disagree. Now, in terms of football and his management for Pep Guardiola, loves attacking, loves overthinking some, but I will give him credit. That match at the Bernabeu, City's best result this season, pulled off an absolute masterclass. So yeah, 8 out of 10. So there we go, that's been the video. Let me know in the comments below with your ratings for the Manchester City team for this season. Bit of a longer video, but I've had to talk about 20 plus people here, so it was always going to be a bit longer. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy this video, leave a thumbs up so I know that you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below too. Don't forget to share the love, like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you all again for the next video. Hope you're all keeping safe and well, and I'll see you all again very soon for the next Manchester City video. So I'll see you then. So I've been JSGC. I hope you'll have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace. Ciao for now. Don't forget, go and check out my reaction video that I did the other day. Lots of love on there. I'll see you again soon.